Alright, looks like we are live. Gonna wait for a few people to tune in. Make sure we are in fact live. Let me know if you guys can see me, if you can hear me okay. We're here at a rally here in Vancouver. Anti-racist, anti-bigot, anti-xenophobia, anti-Islamophobia, all kinds of anti-things. So we're gonna go ahead and march on in here and see what's going on. The reason why the title of this video is Marching into the Belly of the Beast is because a lot of these people have good intentions. Obviously racism is a bad thing. You know, pretty much all the things that they are against, I am against as well. Although they seem to often direct their energy into the wrong solutions and the wrong kind of areas, and often point the finger at people like me, saying I'm some sort of white supremacist or Nazi or something like that, because I, talk about certain issues. I bring up facts and I stick to the truth of what's happening a lot of times. But let's see if they can handle that. They have some speakers on right now. Let me know if you can hear. Let's tune in, see what some of these guys are saying.
March 24th, there was a massacre in South Africa.
I'm gonna walk around, get a bit
Sheffield massacre happened when black people in South Africa refused to abide by the racist laws.
How's it going, everybody?
Apartheid laws restricted black people.
So again, if you're just tuning in, we're here at a rally. It's a bit of a march.
To carry passes.
We got, looks like some of the
passes,
Sons of Odin.
I think people here in Canada recall that First Nations.
How's it going, guys? Do you mind if we talk to you? Sure. We're streaming live.
And we also need to
tell us what brought you out here today.
That the racism
we're just out here just support, and also,
South Africa.
It's a nice day.
Yes.
Put in place its apartheid
Pretty much
policies.
that's about it,
Who are you with? You guys are...
we're the Soldiers of Odin, a community support group. We're against battered women, pedophiles. We're out if you need help, we'll come help you. A lot of
being black people.
Mostly we're
also remember
being around our friends and families and making sure our
that
neighborhoods
about
are
50
safe.
years ago, there used to be a black
I think that's a noble cause. Good thing. Are you
this
generally welcome
was
at this kind of a crowd?
Not mostly, no, but if you really honestly want to understand people, you really just have to go ahead and show them what you're about. We're not here to stir the pot or cause any trouble. We're just here to go ahead and see these people,
in Vancouver,
and what they're doing, and we're not, trying to understand each other.
And so,
instead of trying to go ahead and butt heads and stuff like that, it's not really what we want to stand for.
I agree. I think that's what we need a lot more of, is an actual open dialogue, so we can all kind of better understand each other. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that a lot of the people here seem to be of the opinion that your organization might be like Islamophobic or something like that.
No, not at all. The way I look at it, I don't care what race, creed, or religion. I treat you how you treat me. Respect is earned. It should never be given. And I think that's a big misconception. I don't care where you're from.
All of us here,
if you want to come to Canada, be Canadian.
Together.
Right.
And try and get along with everybody else. Don't come to
black people have been here for 160 years.
That's all I have a problem with. You can come here with your culture, your values, your food, everything. I think it makes Canada a lot more interesting. My grandfather was in it.
I mean, Canada's kind of known for that.
Oh yeah, it's very diverse, and we have a lot of people they come from all backgrounds of life, but they come here and you want to just work hard and improve your life. That's what everybody immigrated was trying to do. You're welcome with open arms. But at the same time, you have to go ahead and remember, there's a lot of people that worked hard to live here and tried to get along with everything, and if you're going to come here, you should try and assimilate into Canadian culture, which is one important.
Once again,
what do you think of some of Justin Trudeau's immigration policies right now, and some of the kind of
And also tell you that
it kind of frustrates me in a lot of ways, because I've got a coworker of mine. He's been here for 8 years away from his family.
Racism targets
and then you have other people that are just rushed right in. And
white people have a role to play.
Our taxpayers' dollars.
Like at the Quebec border, that's happening quite a bit.
Yeah, you know, and I think it's a strain. I think it's kind of a slap in the face to all the people that worked their way into this country.
And we want
and their tax dollars are going to people that are just being
speak out against injustice. Speak out against racism.
You know, how's that fair to them?
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you very much.
That's the message I'm trying to get out.
So are you guys kind of advocating for more of a better vetting process?
Once again, thank you everybody for coming and joining us.
When you start bringing in a lot of people,
freaks out in Vancouver when it's raining.
A lot of good people.
We don't have to shovel.
But then you're also getting, like, who else is slipping through the cracks that's really just going to be causing
problems. We're welcoming once again everybody here.
You know, and
we just wanted to go over a little bit of housekeeping.
Don't have the morals we all have.
We are keeping a circle of the people that just arrived in the last few minutes.
Well, a lot of people think that some aspect of Islam is in direct contrast with our Western Christian standards and values here. Do you think there's a potential clash there?
Well, I'm not really big on religion
after witnessing last year, some of you are
if that's what you love and that's what you find strength in,
and uncomfortable for some people, but you know what? This is part
or anybody else who has a different opinion.
Yeah.
This is part of the process.
That's basically it, you know. Like,
we have to be here. We have to stand
your way of
with each other
on other people.
We have to hold each other.
Everybody should have a say on the right
it's really
to live
important for the moms, for the grandparents, for the kids.
Yeah. It sounds to me like it's a lot like what I subscribe to with voluntarism, where it should be kind of a mutual agreed-upon contract. Not forcing anything on anyone else.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So before
I like to help people. Okay? I don't like bullies, and I don't like people that are think, just because you're different, I can go ahead
on the basis of unity, which is how the coalition against bigotry and racism.
And that's why I stand up against it.
The coalition is basically a lot of little groups and NGOs and people like myself, like MTS, and a lot of people that are here that are nameless, but their faces are very recognizable.
Well, I gotta say, I'm glad to see you guys here, and that's what we need to balance this thing out.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, cool.
So we wanted to read the mission statement as a coalition of various
I'll check it out. Thanks.
We intend to ground our work and educating and mobilizing
so we got a
in an intersectional
flyer here. Let me read it for you. Diverse communities have diverse needs. A strong community is made up of many different groups, each bringing unique perspectives that contribute to the fabric of Canadian culture and a strong economy. Community involvement, charity events, community service.
And our very
get involved, join today. That is the Soldiers of Voting in Canada, who are
freedom. Can we all say freedom?
Here, as the gentleman said, to try to kind of bring some balance, rationality.
Thank you. From oppression in
let's tune in. Let me know if you guys can hear what they're saying.
The world, and I want to add our houses, our homes, and inside ourselves. Thank you.
This guy here is not a fan of the Soldiers of Odin. I don't know if you caught that.
So one of the reasons we started
let me know if you can. Okay, so people can hear.
Bigotry is because the laws don't protect us.
Am I grabbing that flyer?
Even the police don't protect us when we are having people marching at our mosques
Press for Truth
or at City Hall. They're allowed to promote hate. And,
can I ask you what you're doing here today?
No thanks.
What I want to do is I want to ask Tan to come and talk about Tony Du, about what happened to him, and give you an example.
All right, we'll tune into a couple of these speakers.
The police and the law is failing us.
Unless you can't hear, I'll get a little closer. But if you
can
hear, I'll just stick it out right here.
So my name is Tan, and I am with the Vietnamese Collective for Community Justice. I just want to introduce myself and place myself in terms of the work that I do with the community here. So my parents were South Vietnamese refugees after the Vietnam War. My dad was involved in the conflict. He was captured as a prisoner. He was a political refugee. He was sent to work in a
yeah, hey Lee, good to see you here in the chat. Yes,
I have a long line of
the gentleman wanted to know who I was from and wrote down my information, so I asked him who's he with and didn't want to talk.
Against French colonialism in Vietnam, or against American forces, or just dealing with the aftermath of what happened. So I really want to situate myself and realize that we are here on unceded, occupied territory. So that means recognizing my own privilege, my own place as an invited guest to these lands. And I think that when we talk about racism, we need to remember that the first instances of racism happened here when Indigenous folks were colonized and killed. So we always have to bear that in mind, especially for immigrants and refugees who are now here and call this place home.
Again, guys, if you're just tuning in right now, we're here in downtown Vancouver. We're at a rally that's been organized to speak out against racism, speak out against bigotry, speak out against the patriarchy, speak out against Islamophobia, speak out against xenophobia.
By some individuals.
It goes on and on. We've got the members of the Soldiers of Odin back there behind me, kind of keeping a watch on things, and then there's a number of speakers who are here today presenting.
Sex and gender and all those things. So I just really want people to
read in the
people of color,
the brochure or whatever, the flyer for this event, that
racism every day.
They don't want anybody to film it.
Nebulous.
And if they do, just to film the backs of people's heads.
Black and white.
Unfortunately, it doesn't really work like that. We're in a public space, in a public park, and I am press, and I want to talk to these people as press, and I'm not sure why they wouldn't want to talk to the press, otherwise, what else are you doing out here? What is this for, right?
In fact, our own history was built on racism, so that's just what I really want to bring to light here. And for those who are not Indigenous folks, we are uninvited guests. We need to realize that's where we come from. And it's only in acknowledging our own privilege that we can actually work together towards anti-oppression, building solidarity, and building a better future for us.
Thank you. That was awesome. I just wanted to add to the Tony Wu story. A lot of you are familiar with the Navarone story in Surrey on the parking lot of Safeway, right by Central City. Same thing, he was having some issues with probably some drugs or something like that, and he was acting very violently towards himself.
I see a lot of commie flags here.
Safeway.
Seems to be quite the,
and the police were called,
communist faction. I'm gonna,
this man was shot
as soon as the speakers are done speaking, I'll make my way over there and see if we can have a little discussion about that. About their signs,
I was there,
their flags, their posters,
the year of,
handing out
at Central City
propaganda, I should say.
Sorry, I never talked about this.
So we'll see. We'll see what they're passing out. We'll see what they're here to say.
It could be our son.
I don't know if you can see that. I'll try to get a shot.
That gets shot within 3 minutes because somebody's called the police. And guess what? They're the wrong color. So why do we have to draw a gun and not de-escalate and help that person out? We need to call upon the cities, all the cities, Surrey, Vancouver, Burnaby. I don't care which city it is that you come from. The police need to stop shooting us. We need to insist on getting responses that are de-escalation, that are helping people out, and just freaking talking to each other like we're doing here. Just talk to somebody, smile at them, buy them a goddamn coffee when you're in your commute. Make that person smile just for 10 minutes and may not kill themselves that day. So I encourage you to do that every day, if you can. You don't have to buy them coffee, but at least smile at them and say hello. Who are we introducing next? Sorry.
Not sure how many speakers they have today, guys, but stick around. We'll wait for some of these talks to finish. I think they're planning on marching around.
All right, so let's do a chant.
Now they want to chant. God, I hate chanting. I gotta say,
anti-trans,
I'm so
anti-gay, white supremacists,
go
away.
Really
racist, sexist, anti-trans, anti-gay,
in my opinion.
white supremacists, go away. racist, sexist, anti-trans, anti-gay, white supremacists, go away!
That's a long one. That's a doozy.
All right. So, we have seen a lot of hate propaganda, and Stephen Harper rescinded Section 13 of the Human Rights Act, which is making things muddy, and we've seen the rise of hate literature everywhere. We've seen hate literature at the Joyce SkyTrain station, neo-Nazi hate literature, recently. We've seen graffiti and hate literature at UBC, at our schools.
Yes, if you're just tuning in, we're in Vancouver right now.
At AgeWalk last year,
at
that people with AIDS should die.
A rally that's speaking out against racism,
very, very
a number
shameful.
of things, racism, bigotry, xenophobia, patriarchy,
and there's no
Islamophobia.
Political leadership from anywhere to talk about
they've got a number of speakers
now the
lined
federal
up.
government is talking about having a strategy.
I do believe they're
to
planning
deal
to
with
march. So we're going to march around with some of these guys, see how many interviews we
What
can
are they
get.
doing?
And
nothing.
Right now we're just tuning into the speakers.
One of the areas that we saw the rise of hate propaganda last year was Richmond, and I'm going to invite Kevin to talk about that. Carvin Lee.
大家好，我叫李卓峰. I just said in Cantonese, my traditional language, hi, my name is Lei Chuk Fong, and that's a language that you all might hear around because it's the most common Chinese language in, I would say, overseas Chinese communities. I hear a lot of hurt and healing that's happening today. I, like MTS said, live in Richmond, and I've been doing youth work recently where I try to build capacity with youth to talk about Islamophobia, anti-blackness, anti-indigeneity, and just like solidarity among Black, Indigenous people of color among the Chinese community. I live in Richmond, but I come out to volunteer in Chinatown. As said by previous speakers before, Chinatown is a historic ghetto that lies among other racialized communities. Some of them have been displaced already by white supremacist state policies. So when I come out to speak, I still have a lot to learn. I am 28 this year. I'm old enough to be somebody's uncle, my friends and family members' uncle. I think about the next generation a lot. I also, when I'm hanging out with seniors through an amazing Chinatown program, Youth for Chinese Seniors, I get asked, are you gonna have children? Well, I'm queer, but in the idea of, am I gonna have a next generation to support? Yeah, I guess
we'll
in a
tune
way,
back into the talks as soon as they
will have a lot to think about.
Get a little more interesting.
I think that
one of the main kind of themes here that we're going to hear popping up over and over is this concept of Islamophobia. Now, I've mentioned this a lot of times, how that's really a nonsensical term. Phobia implies an irrational fear of something, where there's really nothing irrational about being concerned with the caliphate, the Islamification of Western nations. So I'm not really a fan of that word. I've been accused of that myself, and now these days to that I say, so what's your point? Yes, some people have fears, if that's what you want to call it,
how it is that we're gonna
what we're seeing, not just in Canada, particularly in Europe. It's a grave concern to a lot of people, which is why I often find it unfortunate that it ends up leading to these people just calling me a white supremacist, which I obviously am not.
There's a lot of state violence going on. And there's a lot of people who are protecting what is important.
If you have any questions too, let me know. I'll keep an eye on the chat.
That, I'm reminded right now of
Henry
a story
Lindman
that
says
my,
Islamophobia is a word constructed by a terrorist organization called the CAIR, I believe he said. As far as I understand, it was invented by the Muslim Brotherhood.
And part Chinese.
Essentially,
grandma was brought
track
to
it back
Chinatown a
far
lot
enough.
in the 50s and the 60s, because in the Chinese community, in the Chinese context, there weren't a lot of next generation. There was the head tax, and there were discriminatory.
Yeah, that's another point about this. It's
legislation. And so for her to be both Stolo and Chinese, her name's
there really isn't
Field,
such thing as hate speech, in my opinion. That I suppose can be debated, and I'm fully willing to enter into that conversation. Because, but you know, I am an advocate of free speech, and if you're not in favor of free speech for people that you absolutely despise, even, then you're not interested in it at all. And I find that's a lot of the problem that a lot of these guys have, is they're incapable of engaging in conversation and free speech, and they often just shut these events down. Look what happened to Faith Goldie just a few days ago. Lee covered that. That's on our channel. You can check that out. Where they just shut it down before she had an opportunity to speak. I mean, why not listen to what she has to say and then debate her or battle her with your words if you're so concerned about the message? They just don't seem to be willing to do that. So we'll see who we can talk to. Again, I'm not going to walk around and try to get too many interviews yet, because they're all paying attention to the speakers.
From here to Kurdistan.
Or chanting. There we go.
Occupation is a crime. From here to Palestine. Occupation is a crime. From here to Kurdistan. We have a lot of people from the Kurdish community here because it is solidarity with Afghan Day. There's lots going on in Kurdistan. What's happened to Palestine is happening to Kurdistan. I'm going to ask my dear brother Marwan to come. Marwan to come here and talk to us about what's happening.
Protesting or speaking out in solidarity.
I'm Katatan Bash. Peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum. I also, as a settler, I would like to acknowledge that I am here protesting the Turkish aggressions against Kurdistan on the unceded territories of the indigenous Coast Salish nations. We are here today marking the International Day for Elimination of Racial Discrimination. Today is also International Day of Solidarity with the people of Afrin. Turkey's war and aggression on Afrin and Rojava is a continuation of a long history of discrimination and genocide.
Nothing's happening?
The Kurds and other ethnic and religious minorities in Turkey have faced institutionalized racism and fascism by Turkish governments from across the political spectrum for far too long. After genocides against the Greeks, Assyrians and the Armenian people, the Ottoman Empire turned its attention to targeting Kurds. In words of a sultan in 1921, in Turkey, we cleaned up people who speak Zo Armenian. We are going to clean up people who speak Low Kurdish by their roots.
Somebody's getting called Nazi over here. Let's see what's going on.
Massacres against the Kurds became the norm after the establishment of Republic of Turkey in 1923 by Turkish ultra-nationalist Kemal Atatürk.
Yeah, fucking, you know what? You people are so fucked up. Wearing a communist flag in Canada. Stop touching me. Stop fucking touching me. You touch me again over here. Hey, it back. You're a communist. Where are you covering your face? Get off my foot. Get off my foot. Don't fucking threaten her again.
They're calling this guy a Nazi for some reason.
You're a communist in Canada, fucking standing up for the killing of fucking Christians. You're a fucking piece of shit.
In an attempt to deny their existence, the Turkish government
surrounded him. They were calling him a white Nazi. These guys behind me. Now this is where it's all heading. Uh-oh, we got something on here.
Guy, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Back off. Get out of my face.
The whole narrative. That's how it all starts. Going about the Nazis. Where's the white supremacists? Canada has been open borders to everybody. Where's the white supremacy? Fuck you all.
Back them up as well.
Stay there, man. Fucking communists the problem, not us.
With them or you?
No, she's shoving this guy.
Hey man, why were they calling you a white supremacist?
Sorry?
Why were they calling you a white supremacist?
Because they don't speak the way they want me to speak. That's the problem here in Canada. If we do not speak the way they want us, if we don't think, act, or basically be the way, all of a sudden because I'm white, I'm a Nazi. But here they are wearing communist flags in our country. We are Nazis. How are we Nazis?
Yeah.
We've opened our borders to people from all cultures. Diversity, if it was so fucking great, how well did it work out for the indigenous people? It worked out to the shits. So now we have these communists wanting to fucking invite more people. Who's gonna take care of the indigenous people? You fucking cucks! Nobody's gonna take care of them. You ruin Canada, it'll be all over. You're fucking a bunch of sickos.
Can you come over here, please? My name's Tim. What's your name?
All right, cops are taking him away. This guy's obviously exercising his free speech, exercising his mind. He's marching into the belly of the beast. I mean, he is was surrounded by literally communists, and they do not like that type of message. But I'm kind of surprised the police are just absolutely injecting him.
I'm just walking around making commentaries.
Some of the people who are actually causing some of the problems. I don't know if you caught that lady who was physically touching him. This lady here. Excuse me, man. Do you mind talking to us about what happened there? No. It seems you were pretty intent on stopping him from speaking. Yeah? All right. Well, they don't want to talk about it.
Vince is a friend of mine. He's the one who told me about this. I didn't know he was going to blow up like that.
Yeah. Well, people are upset. You know, people are concerned, and that's what often happens. Is that these, you know, guys just say you're a white supremacist if you say something like that. If you have a problem with closed borders, all of a sudden you're a Nazi or a white supremacist. Which is, in my opinion, absolutely ridiculous. Why not talk to the guy? He was a little irate, I must say, but you know, why not try to have a rational discussion and change the guy's mind? I don't know why they don't seem to be capable of doing that or even giving it a try.
We have a moral obligation to stand behind the Kurdish people now.
So he's way over there. The police have removed him from the situation.
Because their political program is one of freedom, democracy, justice, and equality for all. For women, LGBTQ.
Again, if you're just tuning in, guys, we're here in downtown Vancouver. It's an anti-racist, anti-Islamophobia, anti-xenophobia, anti-bigot, anti-patriarchy, anti-transphobia. All these things were literally on the flyer. So I wanted to come out and check it out. And this one gentleman got pretty vocal about what's going on. So, what's going on?
It's not free speech anymore. It is now indoctrinated one-sided narrative. Now, if you just sit there and just listen to this shit,
they're trying to contain the
so
situation, if you want to call it a situation. I guess he's educating them now.
When is enough is enough? When does, okay, Black Lives Matter, okay, you got to pay all reparations. When does that stop? Until they say so? Or is it fucking when we say, okay, you know what, we paid enough. But we've helped the blacks here in Canada. We've been an open country from all ethnicities. You know, I'm indigenous for fuck's sakes. I am a fucking half white, half native person. But I cannot stand watching fucking commies in my fucking country and everybody's going along with it. And they're all flying the flags in our country. And you guys are just gonna sit there, okay, I know we gotta do our jobs, everything's all fucking okay. How far down the scale is the slippery slope? When does that stop? Who's gonna stop it? How far left? When you go too far to the left, what happens? You get communism. And how well did that work out? That's great. That's all I want to say. I promise you, I give you my word.
See what happens when you just have a nice discussion, you actually listen to somebody, ends in a handshake, even with the cops.
See what I mean? Free, so much for a different narrative. All I want to do is go up there and say something.
You saw what happened last night.
Yeah, they started stepping on my feet, started pushing me.
We're here to keep the peace.
So I can't stand and have an open speech. What did I do? What did I say to really have this big problem? Like, you know, I mean, I can't say my piece.
He's allowed to be loud, right?
Yeah, they got the fucking megaphones going. They're saying all this indoctrinating bullshit, and everybody, they're standing around like sheep listening to it. It's sickening. It's scary shit. And you know what the worst part about it? The worst part about it, it's in our universities and colleges.
Well, it's cultural Marxism permeating throughout the education system, and it's deeply embedded into the curriculum, and it's made its way into the minds of these communists.
Yeah, and basically they're sitting there, they don't know any better. Now they're calling other people racist. They're calling other people racist
because you're concerned with the border situation.
Well, you know what? Mexico. I got a Mexican boss. Okay, he's a pro-Trump supporter, and basically he told me about the Mexican Southern Wall that's in Mexico. The Mexican up until 2010, Calderon, the Mexican president, they did not allow any people from El Salvador, Guatemala, that's where the border is, go on Guatemala. They didn't allow any of those people in, and basically anybody that came in, and there were any Mexicans that were harboring, and this is not in our media, any Mexicans were bringing in illegals into Mexico, they got an automatic 2 years in prison sentence. Unless they didn't pay off the federales, and again, this is not in our media. If they did not pay off the federales, they ended up in a fucking hole, or they you know what I mean? And here we're so anti-white. You know.
Do you think free speech is almost dead in Canada?
Oh God, it's been dead for a while. If it's in our universities, you got to think. Okay, a long time ago, a man, I don't want to say his name, he said that if you capture the youth's minds, you will have the future of the country. And I was a man in 1933 that said those terms. Okay. Now you look at Stalinists. Since 1918, the longest party here in Canada since 1918 is the Communist Party. Believe it or not, it's the Communist Party. Now, I have a problem with communism. I have friends that are Ukrainians. We talk about the Holocaust. We don't talk about the Holodomor massacre, what happened in 1932, that these fucking commies killed 10 million people. And here they are, they're all proud to be wearing this fucking communist flag on their face. Between 1918 and 1985, they killed 100 million people. But here they are talking about Nazis, about white supremacy. If white supremacy was so fucking bad in Canada, then why are we opening our borders to everybody? I don't understand this nonsense. This is bullshit.
Yeah, maybe they should see how they fare in Venezuela. You know, eating.
Oh yeah,
eating
see how well
dogs.
socialism worked in Venezuela. That worked out quite well for them. You know, but again, you just see how I just basically went up and I tried to talk my piece, and basically they started stepping on my shoes.
They did. They
started pushing me, and basically just started pushing me, and basically this is what I get in here in Canada. You know, and this is the shit part. You know, and basically you cannot say what you want here in Canada because you are demonized as a Nazi. Doesn't matter if you're indigenous, doesn't matter if you're white, doesn't matter if you're black. As long as you have their narrative, you're basically a white supremacist. And that's the sick part.
Yeah.
And they call everybody a Nazi, which is, you know as well as I do. I think you're old enough to know the difference between a Nazi and you know, a non-Nazi, you know what I mean? Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I myself have been labeled with this white supremacist Nazi idea.
Sorry, I never got your name.
My name's Dan Dix. I'm with Press for Truth.
Dan Dix, yes, yeah. I heard of you.
Yeah, well, we talk a lot about these similar issues, and then I'm all of a sudden called a Nazi as well, and not really welcomed amongst these kind of crowds, but really I wish they would just listen to people like you.
Yeah.
You know, and get a better understanding.
But you know what? The whole point is when all this stuff came out, this white supremacy, all this stuff that came out, there was no, you know what I mean? Like, there's a pushback. This is what this is. It's a pushback now. This white supremacy nonsense is, like, since I was a child, and I lived in the States, and I lived here in Canada, I've never came across white supremacy and Nazis in my life. So all of a sudden now you got this push, oh, but the indigenous people. Well, I'm part indigenous, by the way. So now you got this big push against our history. Now they're trying to change our history. Now they're trying to change our genders. Now they're trying to change if the white man was here first, or if the black man was here, like what's happening in Britain with the cheddar man. It's complete nonsense. You know, because they want to push this diversity plan. You know what I mean? Where it's like everything is acceptable, and if you're a white person, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, you're privileged, right?
Well, you know what? I have yet to feel any privilege. I've never gone to a gas station where they give me free gas because I'm white. I've never gone into a grocery store. I've never gone into anywhere where they say, oh, hey, you're a white person. You got some privilege. I've never heard this bullshit. And this, again, is them pushing. The liberalism is the new communism, in my mind, here in Canada. Is basically, this is the very dangerous part where it's a slippery slope where it's going to keep on sliding, and when does it stop? Who's going to stop it? And if we stand up, and when we're down on the ground, down on our knees, and we basically say, okay, that's enough, I'm done. But you know what? As soon as you speak up, because you're a white person, because of our history, we're going to be labeled. Yeah. And that's the fucked up part.
Yeah, and I have a problem with their whole shut it down mentality, because honestly, if you don't believe in freedom of speech, even for the people you completely despise, then you literally don't believe in it at all. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And again, you seen, as soon as I stepped in there, because I wanted to hear what they were saying and whatever, I started having these communists with their communist bandanas over their mouths, coming up to me, standing on my feet, pushing me, and then they started threatening me. So now I'm being demonized. And look, now because I'm surrounded by police to make sure I don't, what do you call, step into their safe space. Like I'm the one that's being demonized because I don't agree with their narrative. And this is the problem here in Canada.
Yeah.
Now Trudeau is going to bring in 1.1 million people.
You're not detained right now, correct?
No,
You're free to
absolutely not.
Do as you'd like.
No. But this is the problem. Are they going to integrate into our society, or are they going to segregate?
Right.
And because what they say we have this low birth rate, we have to race mix. So again, what's happening in Israel? What's happening in China? How come China is not having this diversity and multiculturalism? How come how come the black countries don't have this multiculturalism and diversity? Why is it only Western Christian countries? And I've known people that have been told to me, or I've watched on YouTube, or I've watched on other things, where they have these Muslims coming over. I don't like saying this, but I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. Muslims coming over from these other countries, and what they're doing is they're killing the Christians, and they're throwing them overboard, or they're just killing them, or when they come into like Italy, Greece, or whatever, and basically they're desecrating the churches. Like in Britain, there was 450 Christian churches that were fucking desecrated or were shut down, and 500 mosques opened up, and 3 mega mosques happened in Britain. Now look at Sweden. How well did Sweden work out? How well is Britain working out? Now we're going to bring it over here to Canada. I'm telling you, we are going to be in trouble. And if this does not stop, you are going to see civil war somewhere. And it's going to happen in Europe, and then it's going to transform here in Canada. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for your courage to be able to come out, and you know, and bring this important message to these people.
God bless.
Yeah.
Remember that. God bless.
Yeah. All right. Well, keep it up. All right, guys. Again, if you're just tuning in, we're here in Vancouver at an anti-racist, anti-Islamophobia, anti-xenophobia, anti-patriarchy, anti-transphobia, etc., etc., etc. And the gentleman I was just interviewing there was vocal about his about some of the issues that he has with the communist faction here in Canada, and so he voiced those opinions, and they attempted to shut him down. How's it going? Sure. What do you want to say?
Because I'm Kurdish, but I give translator interpreter because my English is not good.
Your English seems fine.
Yeah, but no, because I want to speak about the problem with Turkish, and I was journalist.
United will never be defeated. The people
If possible, I will bring my friend. He can translate.
Yeah, come find us. I'll be here streaming for a while. Yeah. Right. I'm gonna go over there and talk to some of these guys, but you find me. We'll talk to you. Okay. Just gonna go find an interpreter to have a conversation. Okay, let's tune back in here and see what they're saying now.
And be careful. So we're marking International Day Against Racism. There's events happening elsewhere as well. I'm going to ask Anna to speak shortly.
Let's go back over to
another event earlier today. She's here
where
now.
the shut 'em down comments
were.
were.
Speaking at another event marking International Day Against Racism tomorrow in Surrey. It's an open event, and she's one of the speakers. And they're giving away a scholarship to you for $2,000. Anna, can you please
let me know if you guys can
talk
hear
to us what's
this.
going on?
I'm not sure if I'm close enough.
Hi everyone. First of all, I want to recognize that I'm a settler on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, specifically the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Squamish. Very important that we realize the original crime, the genocide that took place on these lands, and that it is very much a continuing reality. I'm a Surrey public school teacher,
That's the guy who
social justice
the gentleman that
curriculum
I was
specialist,
speaking with
and
earlier.
anti-racism to me, I'm so happy to see the variety of flags that are here, the variety of messaging. We have to realize that we're all connected. So I just came from a rally to support March for Our Lives in solidarity with the American students marching down in the States and the realities of what they're facing against their own government. And that was fabulous, and it was amazing. We got to hear from you.
Let's get a better shot.
Oh, there you go.
Really good job. Thanks, man.
I think what I want to say is, and what I'm going to do tomorrow in Surrey, Royal King Palace Hall, I believe it's called, in Surrey, is something very simple, and it's a question. Why is your voice not as important? That's the bottom line. Why are we here? Why are we always having to do this? Why do we need these days? Why do my students not feel that their voice matters as much? We're seeing this incredibly, massively egregious campaign against people of color, against Black, against Indigenous people that are somehow, you know, getting the ability to become kind of in the government, getting some sort of power, only to be lambasted for who they are, to be painted as terrorists. This is happening in Kinder Morgan. There are people being arrested for trying to protect our waters. So there's a real sense here. There's a real sense here of needing to say, what about our voices? Right? I myself am from a Moroccan family, Sephardic Jew. we've been through a lot in a lot of different contexts. And again, the reality is, when is my voice going to matter as much as everybody else? So I need you to keep speaking up. I need you to go back to your communities and say, keep speaking up. And don't let people tell you that your voice is not as important, right? And that no violence,
good point.
No brass
don't
knuckle,
let people tell you your voice is not important.
Is going to stop us from being heard. We are here. We exist. Whether you're a citizen, a resident, whatever, non-status, you...
Not everyone's voice, apparently. Not the guy who got dragged away by the police. They didn't want to hear his voice, did they?
Do not be afraid to have a strong message. Do not be afraid to be critical of our government. We have the right to be critical of what is happening here. And yes, we're living in a white supremacist regime. Yes,
battery.
And I'm glad you're laughing because
I got Brighton here with me.
When they're laughing
How's it going, brother?
I'm kind of glad it came out because it got a little more crazy than we thought.
Thank you for speaking, and as you know that people have been marching against Morgan sites and things like that, and it's all, that's also about racism. I know it's not as fashionable to march against racism and bigotry, so we have not as big numbers. But just to remind you, last year when we were rallying, when we were attacked by these people, they were not arrested.
And that's why I got a little worried about you if you were coming down
on this side, and they were released just as the march was dispersing, so they can come and harass us again. So if you go to Kinder Morgan, you get arrested.
Yeah,
but when these people come
luckily
and
we got
us,
the bags
we do not get arrested.
371.
This is very shameful.
So that's a nice thing.
Well, I just want to say right now to you guys that thank you for
so this is what we're dealing with, right? We're not just dealing with white supremacists, we're dealing with lawmakers.
All right, I'm going to plug in my camera here. Give me 1 sec to make sure I don't lose any battery power.
So we're going to disperse soon. We're going to hear a song about Afrin soon, but we're going to disperse. Please go in numbers, stay together for a bit until we know everybody's safe, so people can go safely to their cars and to SkyTrain.
All right, I think they're about to disperse.
So
Just wait, we're going to talk to some of these guys.
Where is it? Someone's going to replace the song.
I'm not sure if they're planning on marching or if that's just the end of it, but we'll see if we can interview a few people as soon as the speakers are done speaking.
Okay, so we have one more speaker.
One more speaker. Let's catch the rest of this.
This is our wrap-up speaker. Her name is Lavin, and she wanted to share with you about the children and the youth that are being bombarded right now. So she would like the mic and your ears, please.
Can I ask you about your flag? Were you here?
He is speaking.
Oh,
yeah? Come on, man.
Well, were you guys here earlier when that guy was getting upset about the communists?
We are just here to support all the causes for the people. We are against racism.
Yeah.
We just want to stop these kind of guys.
Which kind of guy? Oh, the
soldiers or whatever.
Yeah. Cool. Well, being against racism is an excellent, noble cause. Yeah. So thank you for being here. Are you guys communists? You're flying that flag.
Yeah, we are part of the Communist Party of Canada.
Communist Party of Canada? Interesting. How old is that party?
100 years.
Wow.
We've been here for 100 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's a long time. What do you have to say about kind of the situation right now in Venezuela, where socialism is kind of dissolved into people, having to eat cats and dogs and stuff like that? Have you heard? What do you think about the problems in Venezuela right now?
And hundreds have lost their
Well, I think Venezuela democratic process and popular process is under stress by the great power of this world. By the Western power. They want to stop democratic alternative that has been building by the people of Venezuela, for sure, with problems, as every social process, but the important is to say like in Latin America we are not going to admit never more international aggressions. Venezuela needs mediation, not sanctions.
Right. You know, some would argue that under various communist regimes, more people have died under communism than they have from capitalism.
Well, I would like to start in saying I think like the question has problems. Your question is biased.
There's
because
a lot of
what is
things that
happening
we all
in Latin
put out of
America and
office.
Venezuela particularly is
I'm going to stand here in the center
deepness of a different kind of democratic process,
please,
where for sure the Venezuelan people for almost 20 years is trying to build an alternative economic model based on their people needs.
No, the song is playing. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks.
My pleasure.
We still have to wrap up here, so...
can you guys hear me right now? I see some comments about the mic not exactly working. Let me know if you can still hear me. Test, test.
And let's be safe for each other. Thank you very much.
Okay, mic's back in action. Alright. I guess you wouldn't have been able to hear me if it wasn't. Okay, I think that was the last speaker. So we'll see what they're planning next. I don't know if they're going to be marching or just kind of standing around virtue signaling. We'll see what goes on. I'm hearing they canceled the march. Were they supposed to march and they're not doing it anymore?
Yeah, for safety concerns.
Safety concerns. They're not going to be marching anymore, apparently.
United will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
I honestly can't stand chanting anymore. It just drives me nuts. Especially these
will never be defeated.
chants we've heard like a million times.
Will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
All right, so we're going to have a group over here. People who want to go on SkyTree to go and as a group in safety. Those of you can stay. If you need to go, please go in groups.
I still have some people saying the mic seems to be off. Can you hear it? Can you hear me? Check, check.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think people are saying you can still hear me, so that's good. It's possible the mic is not working anymore. Maybe you're just picking it up through the iPhone. Is that okay? Looks like the mic is working, I guess. I recognize those guys. They were at the Lawrence Southern event. Me and Richard Heathen had an interesting conversation with the guy right behind me there with the fluorescent vest. You may recall they ended up dumping a bunch of piss on Lawrence Southern's head. Not necessarily that guy specifically, but he was there. They are basically Antifa. They're the Antifa faction of Canada. Canadian wing of Antifa right there behind me with their commies hammer and sickle face masks. And those are the guys who shut down the guy who I was interviewing and speaking with earlier, because he was very outspoken about his issues with communism, and rather than, you know, try to ration with the guy or ask him what his issues were, they physically assaulted him. I'm not sure if I caught that on video, but we'll be able to watch, go back on this and see afterwards. But yeah, they stepped on his feet and they were pushing him around, and then the cops pretty much forcibly removed him. So that's one of the issues with free speech here. I guess you can't just be loud, you know, because that guy was, you know, expressing himself, and the police shut it down this time, which is interesting. But then again, I mean, Antifa was also assaulting him. They didn't exactly address that. There was one lady they tried to stop. I tried to talk to her, tried to interview her. She wasn't having it. Typical. But yeah, again, if you're just tuning in, guys, we're here in Vancouver. Got the Sons of Odin over here. We got the other kind of communist faction right there. Yeah, there's Antifa here. Looks like Antifa's making their way out of here.
Hi, Antifa. I like your scarf. Have fun, buddy. Hi, Antifa. Oh, you can
Sons of Odin.
Get home before supper. Mom will get mad. You know, communist flags is against what you're doing, right?
Sons of Odin sending off Antifa with the middle finger salute. Alright, there was one guy who was trying to talk to me. I'll see if I can find him again, see what he wanted to say. Let's see if we can locate him or maybe somebody else to interview about what they're out here doing today. There's the Antifa guys. I could go talk to them, but I don't know if they're going to want to talk to me. The crowd's pretty much dispersing, so that might be the end of it, folks. Thanks, guys. How's it going? I remember you. Yeah, we had an interesting conversation at an event that Lauren Southern ended up getting a bunch of piss dumped on her head. Do you remember that?
I'm not a big fan of your media outfits, to be honest with you. I'm not really into talking to you. All due respect, though.
Okay. Why? What are you not a fan of? What have I said that you do?
Political slant, of course. Ezra Levant, so on and so forth. Not a big fan.
Ezra Levant. I'm not associated.
Formally associated?
No. I've never
obliquely. Not even.
No.
Never even talked to somebody to talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, I know Ezra. He's a fan of my work, actually, but I don't work with the guy.
So if Ezra Levant thinks that your work is substantive, then we probably don't have a lot to say to each other, right?
Okay, but you still haven't told me what I've said that you disapprove of or dislike.
I'm interested in getting drawn into a debate with you, and I know later you're going to put my face on YouTube, and it'll just be generally bad for me, so I don't really want to talk to you.
Okay, well, I'm here just to have an open discussion, especially with the people who have
I'm not disputing your civic right to film or anything, I just don't want to talk to you.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, that's typical, but hey, it's to be expected, I guess.
This is my 5th anniversary of Big News.
He says he has a problem with my media outlet, yet he could not pinpoint a single thing. I asked him, you know, what do you have a problem with? What have I said? He says, oh, well, you work for Ezra Levant, or you're associated with Ezra Levant, or something to that nature. You guys heard it. No, I don't work for Ezra. Lauren told me that he's a fan of mine. He likes my work, but other than that, I have no association with that guy whatsoever. I'm not Rebel Media. I'm Press for Truth. I think this guy may be a little bit confused. I gave him the opportunity to set me straight. He wasn't willing to go there. Oh well. He was worried I'd put him on YouTube. Ha! You're already on YouTube. Yeah, somebody says there's people following me. There is. There's been that happening all day. Actually, I was at another rally earlier today. An anti-gun rally, people marching in solidarity with students from Parkland, and did a bunch of interviews there. A lot of ill-informed people. Stay tuned for that video.
Thank you once again for coming and joining us.
Very interesting.
If you
and
need
I have a feeling some of those
to
people
walk
kind
to
of
your
led
car,
their way over here.
please come here to the tent and we can pair you up with somebody that's walking. So if you come to the tent, we'll find you somebody to walk with. Thank you.
Alright guys, looks like this might be the end of it. Got a lot of people tuning in. If you have questions, let me know. Let's see what this guy's saying.
No, you should probably fuck off. I mean, that's just plain anti-Semitism. Well, I mean,
the Duma in 1918 was 85% composed of Jews.
Actually, there's a really
some from Brooklyn, New York. So they killed around 10 to 20 million white Orthodox Christian Russians because the international Jews have very deep hatred for. So it wasn't the Russian Revolution; it was the Jewish takeover of Russia.
There's a really
this is so well documented.
There's a really interesting pamphlet I was looking at recently called "Overthrow the Illuminati," a tongue-in-cheek title, but it's talking about the origins of conspiracy theories. And this sort of conspiracy theory is that there was like a shadowy group of Jews who like orchestrated the entire thing. Actually goes back to the French Revolution, where essentially very wealthy, the rising elements of the middle class and the aristocracy didn't think that the common people actually had the ability to like organize themselves, to actually change societies. So they said, oh, it must be these groups of Masons, these like secret societies, which had very little actual influence on the revolution.
Sorry, with all due respect, you are aware that in the French Revolution, the Illuminati actually was involved through a group called the Jacobins by withholding the grain?
Well, no, the Jacobins were a separate political party. Like they started off as more of like a philosophy club. Like the Illuminati had nothing to do with that. That came later on. That was posthumously after the French Revolution.
Some would say that they were withholding the grain from the market, and this whole Marie Antoinette saying "let them eat cake" is that's not actually true.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is like pretty often cited that she said like "let them eat cake," but most historians do like say that it probably was an error. Like it wouldn't be out of the like. It's not out of character for her because she was perceived as a very callous individual. I'm not really. I mean, I haven't read a lot about Marie Antoinette, so I don't know her personal inclinations.
As I understand it, she was actually very much liked, but the shadowy powers that are not existent in your world wanted to do away with kings and monarchies and install their system of democracy, which is far more easier to control. What do you have to say to that?
Well, I mean, I don't basically. I take it like I don't think you have to attribute everything in the world to like this conspiracy theory because you don't need like to say there's this shadowy organization pulling the strings behind everyone. There's the ruling class. There's the rich elite capitalist people who own significant amounts of property and capital in our society exert a much stronger influence over each other. And they aren't perfect either. They're still fallible. They're still human beings. They still mess up, right? So I just don't buy into the whole idea of a conspiracy theory because I think people like they relinquish a lot of their own power that they have over to these structures. It's not that the structures like compel them to. Like look at there's a very common trope on the left which I think is misguided, which is that essentially like when you see advertising, it has almost like this omniscient like effect on people. Oh, they see this ad, they're compelled to go and purchase this commodity. That's not actually true. Like tons of ads like fall flat on their face and are like they have almost no power.
But surely there's some of these oligarchy types that you speak of are still Are you familiar with the Bilderberg group, for example?
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
So is that just a conspiracy theory?
I mean, in terms of a lot of this stuff that people like attribute to them, definitely.
Yeah, because they're presidents, prime ministers, media men, military men who meet in secret every year behind closed doors discussing foreign policy. I mean, if that's not today's Illuminati, I don't know what is.
Assuming your theories here are actually true, the Illuminati does exist, what do you propose to do about it?
Well, I run a channel called Press for Truth, where we try to raise awareness about these issues and let people know that these groups do in fact exist.
Okay. But how does raising awareness actually lead to doing it? Plain people are aware that poverty exists, war exists, genocide exists, homelessness exists. What are you actually going to do about it? If you don't have a clear analysis, clear class analysis of the society, then you're not actually going to be able to foment change. That's
we have to identify the problem, the cause of the problem. Like when you say the Illuminati, that's just another term, like for the international Jews or the bankers, the Rothschilds. It really is the international Jews, not the average Jewish people. And this goes back centuries. I got hours and hours. I have a YouTube channel, Brian Root channel, with hours and hours of videos. I just did a video with David Duke yesterday. I've did videos with Dr. E. Michael Jones, real scholars on the subject of international Jews for decades. So go to the Brian Root channel on YouTube. There's lots of evidence there. So I've been studying this for over 10 years, and this is, I think, really the core of the problem is international Jewish power. So we have to actually discuss what the problem is. Otherwise, we're firing at paper tanks if we don't actually identify the problem. I feel we can find a peaceful solution. We can raise awareness and take control of our society again.
All right, I think the guy who was originally assaulted is back.
Why are we all here? Universities and colleges teach you guys to hate yourselves. I don't hate myself. I hate you, dumbass. What happened? I hate racism, bro. I hate racism.
Not only race can stand up for themselves except white people. You guys all have white guilt, and it is sad.
Is it okay to be white? Of course it's okay to be white. It's not okay to think you're above all the other cultures, all the other races.
You're not going to be around.
Canada, the white people of Canada have been completely dominant.
Has been the most amazing to own nationality. In 10 years.
I'm saying that's a good thing. You're saying it's
so
about
children.
I never said that. Okay then.
But all these people, all these communists, all of a sudden, there's this white supremacy that exists. When did white supremacy come about? Who taught you this white supremacy shit? Let's go to South Africa. Let's go to South Africa. Let's go to South Africa. Let's go to South Africa.
What about First Nation people?
That's what's happening in South Africa right fucking now. They're slaughtering the fucking women and the children. They're slaughtering the women and children, and they're killing a fucking South African farmer every 36 hours because he's fucking white. But do they say fucking racism towards the blacks? Of course not. You guys are so fucking indoctrinated, you need a fucking red pill. Let's flood the Muslim countries with the Chinese. Let's
Matrix reference. That's awesome. Buddy.
You know what? Until you fucking went around the world, you'll fucking maybe, yeah, where have you been? When you went to a tourist site for a fucking week? Yeah, and how well is the whites being treated? Look at Rwanda. They kicked out the whites, and now Rwanda's gone down to the shit.
They probably got a problem with whites that are racist. They probably don't have a problem.
They're fucking in a community with a gated community with they're being guarded so they don't fucking get killed.
Because they've got all the wealth. Because they're the ones that have taken all the shit from the Africans.
Are you serious?
Sure, he's allowed to be loud.
The South African government is called for the killing of whites.
Why are they taking this guy away?
Jacob Zuma.
Fascist get out!
Bye-bye, get out!
Fascist get out!
Bye-bye. Refugees, yeah, fake ones, right? Yeah, but
they're taking you away again.
No.
Isn't he allowed to be loud?
But they started.
But you guys just took him away.
No, I know. You know what?
Wow.
All I'm just trying to say is
free speech is really suffering here in Canada, ladies and gentlemen. The guy was loud, yes, but they were having a debate. They were engaging in a discussion. He was making some valid points, and the cops just came up and took him away because he was being loud. That's it. And they made him leave.
Okay, thanks a lot, brother.
Sad state of affairs.
You gotta protect us. We don't want to hurt your feelings. Little babies.
Yeah.
Wait till you get into real society, then you're gonna start crying. Go to your cuddling classes. You fucking baby. I can't hear you. Yeah, you can hear me enough where you can fuck hard.
They're all just kind of laughing at him, but unbelievable, guys. Cops just shut that down in no time. I didn't know it was, legal to be vocally loud, especially when you're engaging in a debate with some communists. Yes, he was passionate. Yes, he was a little bit upset about these guys flying their communist flags here in Canada. But why not let them engage in an open debate? Nothing was nobody was about to assault anybody. I mean, they were just having here a rational discussion, heated, mind you, but much needed debate. Debate is healthy. If we can't have that in this country, I mean, it's just going to continue to fall apart the way it is. And it's sad that these police officers here behind me were involved in that. Blocking that guy's free speech, essentially taking the side of the commies just because he was loud. I mean, just because he was loud.
We, as a society, create so much massive wealth that we just conflate it all into very.
Once again, guys, if you are just tuning in, we're in Vancouver right now. We were earlier today covering an anti-gun rally that people were marching in solidarity with the Parkland students, and then we came to this rally. Anti-racist, anti-xenophobia, anti-Islamophobia, anti-transphobia, anti-bigot. The flyer was pretty long. So of course you had some people coming to show up to speak about their issues, about the commie faction that showed up here. And as you just saw, the police officer didn't let the guy engage in the discussion because he was loud. Thank you for the super chat. See if I can read that. Not allowed to be loud unless it's Alinsky's minions. Appreciate what you do. Absolutely disgusting in jihadi Justin land. Thank you, Lizzie Williams, so much.
99% Japanese, right? People are brainwashed lemmings. They're taught by Jews to hate themselves, to fight against their own race. What other race is fighting against its own race? What other race is hating on itself, right? The way white guilt. I have none of it.
In elementary school, they're training kids to white guilt.
What do you think about the fact that the cops just kind of shut that guy down and removed him from the situation simply for being loud?
Yeah, I don't think he was saying anything wrong. I said the same thing. He just came and backed me up a little bit. Yeah, I guess they just don't like the wrong speak.
Yeah, because I didn't really sense that he was getting violent or physical in any way. He was just loud.
Yeah.
That's my question.
He's antagonized. He's messing with the guys that the cop removed.
Yeah, damn straight. That actress is part of Squatting Slash TV.
Hey.
How are you doing?
How's it good? Good, man. How are you doing?
Pretty well. How's your day at the protest today?
Good. I've been to two today. I went to the anti-gun rally earlier today.
Oh, I wish I could have made that myself, actually.
Yeah.
I had to make a split decision between the gun rally or coming here, and I decided to come here instead.
Yeah.
I'm a substitute fill-in for the great Squatting Slav himself. Unfortunately, he couldn't come with us tonight.
That's too bad, man. Yes. I'm liking what he's doing. Squatting Slav, everyone. If you're not familiar, check it out. Yeah, we're live.
Yeah. We're at this rally, and originally we were trying to get footage and talk to people. Unfortunately, doing a Great Wall of China and blocking us, everybody out. It's an expression of free speech, so forth, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk about democracy, but from what I've seen, there's also a lot of communist flags all around and red stars, so I had a hard time understanding that.
Yeah.
But ironically, the direct, real-life example of a democracy is a lynch mob. We live in a republic in the United States, at least, but people don't understand the concept and difference of an individual protected against the majority as opposed to a lynch mob, which is democracy in action. But nonetheless, democracy this, democracy that, anti-racism, blah blah blah, all big statements that are like so big sacrifices to say, right? And from what I've seen, a lot of handlers, obviously older white guys past 65 looks like, and you know, they're talking about anti-racism while they're trying to benefit from the supposed white privilege themselves. So there's a lot of hypocrisy going on as well. Unfortunately, I was not able to get a lot of people to interview, and hopefully we can get some in the end here, but you know, when there's a rain delay, all of a sudden the virtue signaling is not that important.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you noticed that the guy who was kind of opinionated over there, all he did is get a little bit loud, and then the police basically forcefully removed him from the
Yes, I saw that
debate.
as well.
I mean,
ridiculous. Freedom of speech, like the whole point of like USSR in North America in the 80s, the free world, was supposed to be freedom of speech. You know, say what you want. You're allowed to say this and that. And then today, look at the situation. Everything's censored. Everything's a preconceived narrative. Everything is preconceived narrative with everybody's told what they think and they say the right thing without actually saying what they feel. Everybody just says the right thing because they know what they're supposed to say in that moment. Very few of these people are capable. For example, what's the difference between logic and reason?
Looks like the
A cat has logic. When it hears a can opener in the kitchen, it knows there's food. Reason is deciding how much they should eat, if they should hold back, if it's in their benefit not to eat as much. Very few people and no cats have that. But here all we have is a bunch of sheeple just touting the lines and so forth, and pretty disappointing for our first interview, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So, pleasure to talk to you, bud.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Cool, nice meeting you. How's it going? Somebody wants to talk to me here. Okay. This is Deaf Man. Let's see. Hi, I'm Bill from Toronto. Just moved to BC last May. I'm still studying the Canada system. I'm deaf and very hurting. May I have a business card, please? Yeah, I'm going to give this guy my business card.
And also, here's another hilarious.
Always have business cards with you, ladies and gentlemen. You never know when you're going to give that out. There you go. Okay, people are still saying they can't hear me. Let me check my mic again.
Second best is raw milk. That is loaded.
Can you guys hear me, or does it sound like it's coming through the mic or coming through the phone? Check my battery. Batteries are good.
Just to freak him out?
That is full.
Okay!
People are like, oh
yeah. All right, people are saying they can hear me fine. Good. Thank you, everyone. Still a number of people sticking around. The rally ended 45 minutes ago, I don't know, half hour ago, but still quite a lot of people here. Some Antifa guys, most of them left. Some of them are still here. The one guy who didn't want to talk to me said he's not a fan of my media outlet. I asked him, what have I said? Let's talk about it. He said, no, I don't want to engage in debate with you. It's like, well, you're accusing me of things. What have I said that you have a problem with? And he couldn't come up with anything other than Ezra Levant. That's all he said. Ezra, I'm like, Ezra Levant? What the heck does that have to do with anything? I'm not Rebel Media. Again, typical. Can I get a shot of your hat there? Oh yes, the Make America Great Again hat.
How are you? What part are you from? Like, you look familiar. Like, where are you from?
I'm from.
Have I seen you on videos, maybe YouTube?
Yeah, probably. Press for Truth.
Cool. Yeah, you just look familiar. Cool. I think we're gonna go though. So
take care. All right, guys. Looks like that might be the end of this. Still a few people sticking around, but quick wrap up. We're here covering this anti-racist, anti-xenophobia, anti-Islamophobia, anti-bigot, anti-patriarchy, anti-transphobia, yada 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 rally, and And we saw one guy who was pretty vocal about his opinions. Hey, how's it going?
Just wanted to say, Bill Clinton's a rapist, Infowars.com. You are the resistance.
All right. I would have to agree. Bill Clinton is indeed a rapist. I don't know about the other stuff though. We'll just forget about that. But yeah, Bill Clinton is a rapist. Screw that guy. So again, just to kind of wrap things up. Yeah, just covering the rally today. You saw the. I don't know if you can see him. He's still hanging out over there. That guy was vocal, and the police back there ended up pulling him away, even though he got assaulted by the Antifa thugs who don't want to talk to me, even though I'm just trying to have a rational discussion. They didn't want to talk to me. And it's sad, really, because racism is a bad thing. That's the main cause here at this rally. But a lot of their intentions are being steered in the wrong direction. I mean, they're coming up with the wrong solutions here. And I think it's a large part to do with the curriculum being taken over in the universities. This postmodernism type of Karl Marxist philosophies have made their way into the school's curriculum, and they've clearly have begun to permeate their way throughout society, because these ideals, these ideologies are what we hear at these rallies all the time. So yeah, it's unfortunate. They're all still kind of staring me down, the Antifa guys, so I don't know if they're waiting for the stream to stop, but we got the masked thugs over there. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I might wrap this one up. How long have we been going? About an hour and 20 minutes, it looks like. Somebody says, where's the security? If you mean police, they are back there. If you go back earlier in the stream, you'll see there was a little bit of a confrontation earlier because the guy was just getting pretty loud, pretty vocal with his views and his opinions, and Antifa assaulted him, and then the police removed him from the situation. Let's see what these guys are saying.
Same group, those guys were here last year and attacked people at this month.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, no, violence.
Well, then
you're
supporting that then?
No, I don't support violence. Never.
Yeah, well, that's who those
Well,
guys
what
are.
about what about World War II? Do you think we should have just let Hitler do all that shit, or should we use violence against him?
You know,
well, that's what I'm saying. Is violence appropriate against fascists?
No.
I think it is. Like, that's the only thing that'll treat them.
The way I see it, all wars are brother wars, especially
You guys got the ones who got kicked out of the rebel?
I don't think any of those wars were necessary.
Everybody seems to think I work for Ezra Levant or something. I don't know why. I don't know what that comes from.
Necessary. I didn't live through those
Wait,
wars.
only
You said, didn't you get kicked out of the rebel?
You think those are necessary?
No.
So all war is not necessary.
I don't think so. I don't think
that's a good thing. I can support that.
No, I don't think that. You know what? Because.
He keeps calling everyone cucks. Cops are keeping an eye on him. They have been the whole time. I mean, he's loud. Yeah, he's loud. But last time I checked, you're allowed to be loud here in Canada, especially when you're trying to engage in debate with some commies. I mean, I don't blame the guy for getting a little bit heated and, you know, loud. Good for him. But the cops are just keeping him on the curtain. Let's go back to this.
I'm not here to keep supporter, but I mean, she got elected. Just get over with it. Move on. In another 2 years, people will get another chance to put somebody else in the White House.
Politics is not just voting once every 4 years, man. Politics is a constant thing.
Okay,
politics affects people's lives.
But the guy supports Trump. What's your problem if the guy has a Trump flag?
Because under Trump, white nationalist groups have gotten massively more popular. Because look, his rhetoric supports white nationalism.
He never said that.
This is, dude, this show me one. Like, oh, Mexicans, all rapists.
Show me
he literally said that. He said Mexicans are all
rapists.
rapists.
Are rapists.
Wasn't he referring to illegal immigrants?
Who cares?
I don't think
even if he's saying
a lot of immigrants are economic migrants, man. They're searching the good jobs because all the good jobs in Mexico got destroyed by NAFTA. Which was what it was designed to do.
Yeah, all of those refugees coming from Mexico are the fault of America in the first place because of their economic policy, and then America's like demonizing them.
The agricultural community in Mexico got destroyed by NAFTA because all of the agriculture in the United States is heavily subsidized.
And I agree that Americans, I mean, NAFTA didn't work for anybody. It didn't work for Canada. It didn't work for the United States.
Well, okay, we can agree on that, man.
Of course, yeah, I agree with a lot of stuff that you guys say.
Open borders.
I agree with a lot of stuff. I just don't agree with the racism stuff.
I mean,
there is no racism in Vancouver. There is no racism.
There's no racism in
There is no racism. Show me an example of racism.
Actually functions for people.
Those guys just said there was violence last year at this protest by those soldiers towards minorities.
It is not an institutional racism. I mean, some drunk guys.
All right, you want to talk institutional racism? Let's talk about First Nations then. Okay. What are the levels of violence against women, against rape towards First Nations by white people that are not pursued, that the police put under the rug, that do nothing about?
But even with that risk, I don't think anyone.
But the people who already live here are at least.
This is a police issue. The police has to
But the
deal with
people
it.
who
I
are
agree with that.
here
Whenever there is violence, police have to deal with
well, then the
to
politics
commit
is not
crimes or
doing
what
enough to.
So are you telling me that somebody has less rights than other people?
No.
In Canada,
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying First Nations should have the same rights as all of us.
Look around you.
So like, there's no argument to be made that these are dangerous people. And we have a rhetoric that says that.
There is no problem. You're just perfecting imaginary issues. There is no racism.
There is a little bit of racism against certain white people that show up to these types of events.
Well, could be, but
racism
what
against
there is,
white people that come to these
I mean, look, I'm from a different country. My wife is from a
Okay,
different
man, you
country.
gotta understand, we don't hate these people because they're white. We hate these people because they're fascists, because they're racist.
How are they fascists? What do they do?
I'm white. I can't hate white people. That would be self-hating. I don't do that. I hate fucking white people that are racist. If you're not racist, I've got no problem with you.
I assume you believe in freedom of speech?
Yes.
Would you agree that freedom of speech should be
I do not believe hate speech should be free.
There's no such thing as hate speech.
There's no such thing as hate speech. Speech that promotes violence against communities is hate speech.
You know what?
Just say like
Jordan Peterson the other day, he said, free speech is like battle of words. Once you take the free speech away, you're taking the critique of somebody to defend their argument.
If you don't believe in free speech for people you absolutely despise, then you don't believe in it at all.
Yeah, no. You know,
that's an excellent argument that fascists love to use. The idea that free speech should be for Nazis and shit. But the thing is, that's their whole modus operandi, because the more they can fucking spew their hate and their bullshit, the more susceptible people, the people who have been put on by our horrible economy, by the fucking...
So their speech should be silenced because you disagree with what they're saying.
You want to add me on Facebook?
No, I'm saying we should fight against their speech.
It should be silenced because their speech is promoting violence against marginalized communities.
Right.
That's not that fucking hard to understand.
Yeah, promoting violence is a bad thing. I would have to agree.
So why are you defending it then?
I'm not defending promoting violence.
You just said it. Hate speech does not exist.
No,
hate speech is speech that promotes violence against marginalized people. Anyone in general.
It's a gray line there. I mean, how do you define hate speech?
I literally just did. Do you want me to repeat it again?
Yeah, because I disagree. I don't think
give me your definition then.
I don't think there really is such a thing.
Okay.
However, like, you don't like how we
I mean, we're talking to you peacefully right now, bro.
Yeah.
And like, it's clear that you're a fascist supporter.
it's clear that what have I said that makes me a fascist supporter? Yeah, why do you just dissolve to you're a fascist, you're a white supremacist, you're a Nazi?
It's an accurate descriptor. What do you want?
Where do you say
Okay, man.
I've seen this guy carrying cameras around at Nazi rallies. This guy's
you regularly rebrand yourself.
I got the social vote.
Every name you choose, it gets tainted for some reason. I don't know why.
Like, we used to film for Lauren Southern.
It's almost like you people are like irrational, hateful idiots.
She's a fascist sympathizer for sure. Yeah.
I don't know if you caught that. I'm a fascist because I'm associated with Lauren Southern.
Nationalist. She supports most of their agenda. Well, it means at the exclusion of
white nationalism. Whites are already the dominant population in our society.
Crazy, whites are minority in the world. Check statistics. There's 6% of the population.
Yeah.
What are you guys talking about? 6% of the population.
What about all our politicians? What about our police forces?
Here's a question.
What about the
Actually, we have a huge number of seats.
You are so
politicians
afraid
here.
of whites become minorities, and yet you say minorities aren't oppressed. Like, how does that even work? That is, I don't even get that. That is.
Yeah, are you saying that the minorities in our society aren't disadvantaged, but you're afraid of becoming a minority?
We have a debt to those places.
No, nobody said that.
Or the developed world, like the first world.
I'm asking you. Are you afraid that the white population? No.
I'm not afraid. I'm just saying you guys are creating a problem.
But isn't that a white nationalist speaking point that once they become a minority, they're not going to have any power and they're going to be destroyed by the what are now minority?
Okay, let's say if Europeans were
they not only
polar bears, everybody will be up and down. So, oh my God, the freaking polar bears are disappearing. But because the people who built the most advanced civilization in the world, the most beautiful culture in the world, the most tolerant culture in the world, the most inclusive culture in the world are disappearing, and everybody is saying, you know what? They did their part. We don't need them anymore. Now we're going to enjoy their fruit. But you know what? Let me tell you something. Some people are so stupid they don't realize. Once you cut the fruit tree, there is no more fruit. And everybody's going to go down. The Europeans go down, everybody's going down. So this is what you guys need to understand.
There's going to be a race war? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is once Europeans are outbred, because look, I'm from Europe, I go there every year. I can see what's happening. There is no peace in Europe. It's a ticking time bomb. It's just a matter of time that all hell breaks loose and the shit hits the fan. Just a matter of time.
Which is going to be a race war? You think there's going to be a race war?
I don't think it's going to be a race war. I think it's going to be a civil war because European people. Look, look, it doesn't matter what it is. Europeans can't walk on the street. They can't take public transportation. Please,
Europe is way safer than
look, hear me out. Priests are being slaughtered in church while they're giving service. Young women in France. Just yesterday there was another terror attack. You can be blown up at concerts, you can be run over by trucks of peace. Europeans can't go to the Christmas market because the market...
Okay, let's talk about that then. Let's talk about how white civilization...
Let me make my point. Let me make my point, then you can ask me a question. I'll be happy to answer any question.
All right, finish.
So my point is, right now what's happening, Europeans can't live in peace. They build those beautiful, peaceful societies. Right now those societies are being overrun by people who doesn't share the same culture, who hate them.
So you're saying white civilization is superior to all other civilizations?
Let me finish, and then I'll answer any questions. Let me make my point. I'll answer any questions you have. Okay. So basically, what's happening right now? Europe is getting overrun by people who want to change the way we live. Okay, and once the Europeans are gone, there will be no more European culture. This is what most of the white nationalists, you guys call them, this is what they're fighting for. They want to preserve their culture, they want to preserve their tradition, their heritage, the way of life, and they just want to be left. They just want to be left alone. It's not hate, it's love. It's love for your own people, for your ancestors. It's love for your culture, heritage, way of life. That's what it is. I mean, Japanese. Imagine that if 3 million Nigerians went to, or Russians went to Japan. Imagine 3 million Russians went to Tokyo and took over Tokyo.
I'm not supporting.
Everybody's going to say, hold on a second, the Russians are going to Tokyo. They're exterminating the Japanese. Or so we got Japan for Japanese. We got South Korea for, Korea for Korean. We got China for Chinese. We got Middle Eastern for Arab.
So we're not supposed to immigrate? You just said you immigrated.
No, you can immigrate.
Europe.
You can immigrate. Just don't replace a native population, because see how it worked out for the natives in Canada. Don't replace Europeans. Once Europeans go down, every fucking body goes down with the Europeans. This is a fact. Nobody else. Tell me who else builds a successful society except Europeans and Japanese. Tell me who else builds. Did Africa build a successful society?
You have to learn more history then, because white civilization destroyed all these other cultures, man.
Okay, but why is everybody now coming?
Do you not know what colonialism is?
Of course I know.
Do you not know what neo-colonialism is?
I know what all of this. But
this is what happened, man. They had societies, and then white people came in and created divides in the population. They created economic injustice, and that's why all this violence is coming from.
It was all the whites. That one. It wasn't the Mongols. It wasn't the Ottomans. It wasn't Genghis Khan. It wasn't anybody else. It wasn't the Chinese. Nobody else had.
That's what you're saying, man. You're saying ours is the only civilization.
No.
What about Chinese civilization? They've been around for 6,000 years.
Why don't everybody go to China now?
They probably do have immigration.
Okay.
Very small amount.
Yeah. Everybody wants to come to places built by Europeans, and then they want to turn them into something else, into the places that they run away from. What is the problem? What is your problem with the people who built that country? With their
people
ancestors?
are trying to protect something that is built.
You guys are having all the opportunities that
You're just going in circles, man. I don't really want to have this argument anymore. You're basically, all the arguments that you're making, even if you aren't a racist or fascist, are arguments that racists and fascists, like Hitler, have already made. Hitler was a huge...
Why do you always
Hitler's
say
arguments... Because that's what it is, man. That's the thing.
It is not.
There's so many similarities. The fact that you can't see them means you don't have a good understanding of history, man.
No,
these are all the same arguments you're making, are the exact same arguments that Hitler made.
What is your solution to the problem? Let's bring all the other countries, all the other places.
We should welcome them.
We should welcome them?
Yes.
Okay. And until when? When enough is enough?
When is enough is enough? What? Canada's a huge country, man. I just drove across this country. There's tons of open space. We can accept a huge amount of population.
Right. Well, what is this population going to do?
Live here, grow families, same as everybody else, man. You've got more in common with a poor person in Africa than you do a rich white person in Canada. And I'm only saying white because statistically, they're the vast majority of rich people.
Could be. I don't know.
It's statistical facts. All the inequality created by our society being controlled by a very small population.
You think the problem is because...
It's economic. That's what I think it is. Okay. And I think racism and all that is created
I think you're mixing up economy and with racism. Racism has no place in your argument. So if there is inequality, economic inequality, okay, fine. Let's figure out how we make it more fair for everybody. Actually, I agree with that. But don't throw racism in everything that you think is unfair and unjust, because it's not. It's not really that the issue. Anybody can go to school, anybody can study, anybody can get a job. Yeah, just
I don't know. I feel like I've supported your channel enough, man. We've obviously got differences. I believe immigration's good. You say it's bad.
I didn't say it's bad. I just said it's bad to do it in a natural, not organic way. So let's say if you need to be able to absorb certain population when it comes. I mean, for example, I was just watching in the States, there was this town that was like 95% white Americans 15 years ago, and now they're a minority. And even when I was interviewing that, people are
I feel like crime and all that stuff is based on economics, so I feel like that's the issue we need to solve.
Okay.
We don't need to solve immigrants coming in.
Exactly the point.
Not taking our jobs or anything.
No, I'm not saying everybody's taking a job, but it's not an issue of not accepting people, but you cannot accept more than you can absorb and more than you can integrate. Just imagine if you have a place...
How would you feel if you weren't allowed to immigrate here? Or do you feel like only white civilization people should be allowed to immigrate to Canada? The whole population of Canada is immigrants, except for the First Nations.
I'm not arguing with that. I'm not arguing with that. What I'm arguing,
you're kind of arguing against
no, what I'm arguing is there is no racism. You guys have no point of racism. you're creating an issue.
I've seen racism. I've seen racism.
I've been here for over 30 years, on and off, and I haven't seen any racism. Actually, I haven't seen racism from white people towards somebody else. Maybe somebody gets drunk and says something, but institutional racism, there is no such thing. Anybody have the opportunities, anybody can go to school, anybody can start working, anybody can contribute to society.
I think you might have actually started to convince them of some things, and I don't think you could handle that. So
they don't have arguments and facts on their side. This is the problem. If they have arguments and facts, they will listen and they'll debate. Why did they shut Trade Gold the other day? They just don't want to listen to the message. They don't want to discuss. So the only thing they can do is sabotage, and that's what they did. They put a fire alarm off and they ruined the event, right? But I'm willing to discuss with everybody. They should keep going in circle and creating issues where there are no issues. I mean, especially here in Canada. Okay, maybe somewhere else, yes.
They seem awful quick to put on the white supremacist or racist label when you're just speaking of.
I mean, according to them, yeah, if you're white, you're white supremacist, and most of them are white. So it's like,
well, we got some Indians here that
it makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being the voice of reason, coming here and trying to explain that to these guys.
No, I think actually I've seen some of your videos.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep. You guys are doing a good job. I mean, the alternative media, I think, has an important role because if you only listen to the mainstream media,
they're not even here.
They're just a propaganda branch, like CBC. And
want to go to Timmy's?
So you guys are doing a good job.
Thank you.
They're right there. Go to Timmy's. Tell it to them.
All right, we've been going hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up, guys. Again, thanks for tuning in. Just a quick wrap up. We were here in Vancouver at an anti-racist, anti-xenophobia, anti-bigot, anti-transphobia, anti-Islamophobia, etc., etc., etc. There was a whole bunch of other things listed on their flyer. But I wanted to kind of come down and engage in some discussions with some of these people. You notice some people got very vocal and they were removed by the police, which goes to show the state of free speech right here in Canada. The guy was just being a little bit loud, and he was actually assaulted by the Antifa thugs, but they removed him from the situation. Again, they immediately resort to the white supremacist you know, fascist label, like they were calling me. Everybody calling me a fascist. I don't know why. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the tape. This was pretty interesting. But anyways, I think I'm gonna call it for today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Be sure to check the links in the description if you want to support the work we do here. I don't know if the links are in gonna work on a live stream.
Trump 2020.
Yeah, yeah.
How's it going?
Good. Just wrapping up the live stream.
Cool.
So yeah, check the links, guys. If you support the work we're doing, I'll have them in there if I can. pressfortruth.ca/donate. Of course, you can also check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/@pressfortruth. We need your support to be able to come and cover these types of rallies. I did the anti-gun rally earlier today. I'm going to be releasing that video on YouTube as soon as I get time to go home and edit it together. But I'll get that up as quick as I can. Kyle Reese, thank you for subbing. Thank you. Talk to more people, says Ryan Bastian. Yeah, I'm been here almost 2 hours. My hands are freezing and pretty much everybody's gone now. So I think that's time to maybe call it. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in. That guy's still over there shouting. All right, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth, and we'll see you all next time. All right, how do I end this thing? All right, see you guys.